Good morning. Welcome on this Thursday. Hope you're all doing well. Time for our weekly discussion with the Mayor of the City of Fall River, Mayor Paul Coogan. Mayor, how are you today?
I'm doing fine, Keith. How's it going?
Yeah, it's going well. I mean, the weather has been a lot better, so that's a
Oh
good
yeah.
sign. And we're heading into March, so it's all good in terms of that. Let me get right into a few issues. Let me actually start with COVID-19 and the pandemic. Vaccinations continue ongoing at the site at Bristol Community College. Any updates in terms of allocation of extra doses to the city? Are we still in a holding pattern there?
We're kind of in a holding pattern, although what we've picked up is what they call supplemental doses for specific areas. Today we'll be at the Cardinal Medeiros high rise doing the residents there and some residents from a couple of our others. We have 200 doses going in there today. I'm going to take a ride up later. And again, I'm told, which I will go check for myself, that the Liberal Club is reopening today from South Coast. We've also applied to become part of a compact with a number of area towns like Taunton, Freetown, Somerset, Swansea, so that we can get additional vaccines into the city of Fall River through that method. And again, we are working closely with our legislators and the governor and the lieutenant governor to get more vaccines. I'm hopeful that when Johnson & Johnson comes out, they'll start firing some right down here. So believe me, we spend a good part of every day chasing vaccines, and we're going to stay on it.
And I know that the state announced money for that sort of that outreach campaign in 20 communities. Fall River is one of those. Is there anything that the city will be working on with the state, or is this just an effort for the state to help what you're doing there in Fall River?
No, what they want you to do is target populations that aren't necessarily in line to go get a vaccine. They might not want it. They might not have all the information. So I think what's going to happen is you're going to see a door-to-door campaign in some of our targeted neighborhoods where we try to get people to understand that the vaccine is the way to go, and it's part of the state program that designates Fall River as one of those 20 communities. So I think that's what's going to be going on around the state, and they want to make sure that everybody that wants a vaccine can get one, and the people that don't want to get one, we bring them into the fold, and hopefully they'll get one also.
All right.
And I
All
did
right,
not get mine yet. I did not get mine yet. I went on CVS this morning, and I went on VaxFinder, and I will get mine when it's my turn.
You are in the queue though, right? In terms of I don't want to
No, I'm not in the queue. Every time I go in, it says fully booked, so there's no queue to go. So I'll wait. I'll wait.
All right. I want to shift gears now to the Fall River School Department. You issued a statement this week concerning Superintendent Malone. We have talked about this over the past few weeks about your role or lack thereof because of a opinion from the Ethics Commission in terms of the investigation of the superintendent. Let me just ask you, why did you release that statement this week? And do you feel it was needed to be said to give some of your input in terms of what's been happening?
I want people to understand that that elected officials are bound by certain rules and regulations, and I did not want to get out of that fight. I did want to be in that. I did want to hear the debate. I wanted to hear what was said by the investigator, but I was not allowed anywhere near any of that. So I want people to understand that I didn't say, "Oh, good, take me out of here." I wanted to get into it. My request to the ethics committee was actually designed on a way to get in, but after they examined all the facts, they said I could not participate. Others were allowed to participate because between the designated employee that they put on their ethics report and the superintendent, there were buffers. It might have been a vice principal, a principal, a department head, or an assistant superintendent. That's what the difference was. In my unique case, my brother reports directly to the superintendent, so there was no buffers in between my brother and the superintendent, and that was why I got the ruling I got. But I do want people to understand that I don't shirk my responsibilities. I wanted to participate, but the ethics commission ruled I couldn't.
And your comments were also very strong in terms of no tolerance in terms of bullying or any language that is inappropriate. And you wanted to make that clear as well, right?
Absolutely. Well, we looked at our policies. The investigator that did this investigation took 7 of our policies to try to see where these allegations matched up or where they fell. And in doing that, she may have pointed out some areas where we need to tighten things up or be a little more clear and precise about what's going to happen if something like this occurs again. And I'm sure we'll be working on that. But that was something that did come out of this.
Any comment at all about the vote of no confidence by the city council this week?
Yeah, the city council, they're an independent body, and I watched that debate. They made the vote that they were comfortable with, and it's the same as the school committee. I shouldn't be commenting on that, and I should just say, let's get to work on the next issue because there's one right around the corner.
And let me just ask you any update. I know that the investigative report, which a lot of people want released, is that still before the Attorney General's office? Any timeline on any ruling from them, or is that based on their timeline, whatever that may be?
Yeah, I have no knowledge of that at all. I mean, I don't know anything about that. I know there was a request, but I don't know where that timeline is.
All right. Let me get into some other school issues. This one is directly related to, against the COVID and getting kids back in school. The commissioner of the Department of Elementary and Secondary Education this week is coming up with a plan to get elementary school kids back in the classroom, full in person by April sometime. Do you know anything about the plan? I know it still has to go before the board, but I mean, is the city ready to implement that if it comes down?
We'll be ready if it comes down. I know we've been looking at things right now. We do have our hybrid model going. It's going to open up again for middle and I think high school students on Monday. We're going to get them back in the hybrid form. But with the new ruling, busing, and with some of the other things going from 6 feet to 3 feet, we're going to have to reconfigure our classrooms again, and we'll do whatever the state feels is best for the kids. I'm an advocate for getting them back in school as much as possible, because I think I was reading a story this morning on in the Boston Globe about mental health issues related to students and young people, and it's not good. None of the statistics are in any way, shape, or form good, and we have to make sure that we get these kids back, especially, I'm thinking, the end of the year, because as we transition to next year again, God willing, this COVID numbers will stay trending down, and we'll get people vaccinated, and maybe we can get closer to normal next year. But we want the kids back into some kind of a classroom learning setting this year, so that when they walk in next year, it's not going to be, like day one again all over.
Yes, in some ways, if you're getting back toward the end of the year, when September comes around, they're sort of used to that practice again. So that's probably
Correct.
a good way to look at that. Also, this week, there was a social media post by one of the subcontractors at the construction of the new Durfee High School that was very critical of the general contractor there, bringing up some issues that he saw that his people have seen during their work there. You addressed this yesterday. Let me just ask you, did you know about some of these issues? I guess Phil was in on, some of the allegations in terms of what you know and what the city has done to rectify them.
But the issues that were brought up in that letter are well known to the city. They're well known to the building committee, and they're well known to the entire team up at the Durfee construction site. That gentleman put together a laundry list of things that we've been addressing. We're as part of the building oversight committee. We meet on Thursdays. These things come up. I've toured the building a number of times. We have 2 people up there in Glenn Hathaway and Chris Gallagher that work for the city that are routinely walking around the building, doing inspections, as the gentleman noted in the letter, diligently protecting the city's interest on this building. I think, all the things he's brought up in that letter, most of them are already fixed. Some of it was dated, and there's probably some other issues there that are underlying that whole post. Going forward, we have regular meetings scheduled with the owner of Suffolk. John Fish came down last month. He's going to come down next month. We're going to walk the building with him, with Chris Gallagher, with Glenn Hathaway, with Kenny Pacheco from the schools, and look for areas where we could maybe make any adjustments or corrections that are needed as we go. The issue this week with the roof, That roof has been talked about for 6 or 7 months. That was found to have some weaknesses. And as Suffolk said, we're not turning over a building that has potential weaknesses, even if they're 4, 5, 10 years out. We're going to do it right. The roof's going to be replaced. I think these are things that go on in a $263 million project. When we want the school 100% correct, when we take it over. The hiccups along the way, large or small, are being addressed, and they will be addressed as they come up.
Let me just ask you, any fear in terms of the timeline? You know, the goal was to have, you know, that building open this fall. Is that still the intent?
No, yes, that's still the intent. I think if you've ever been up there, Keith, what's going on is it seems like the third floor is obviously the farthest one along. Then they're going to go second, and then they're going to go ground floor. And they're moving in stages through the building, just like they did during the construction of the exterior. So if there is any delays, for example, that are caused by some of these glitches, we fully expect to start moving into the third floor first. Set up a classroom, close the door, wait. Set up the next one, close the door, wait. On the third floor. Then by the time we finish the second, we'll move down another floor. So moving in will be probably pretty close to the regular schedule we had, but it will be by floor instead of just everything on.
All right. One final question, sort of getting back to the pandemic. You know, numbers have been on the decline, thank goodness, across the country and in the Commonwealth. Any thoughts about reopening again, government center, maybe, you know, expansion at the library and senior centers?
Yeah, those are coming shortly. Believe me, I think we were talking about it yesterday. We had a little meeting about it. I think we're going to work those things out shortly. Senior centers, if you remember, were always designated for phase 4. So I don't know. Or is it phase 3? It was one of the far out phases. So we'll wait on that one. And again, that might even be hastened by vaccines. If we can get some vaccines to these people, that would help, because then we know most of them are vaccinated. That'd be great.
Yeah. All right, Mayor Coogan, thank you for your discussion again this week. We'll talk again next week. Have a good week. Thanks.
Okay, Keith. Thanks.
All right. And thank you for joining us today here in FRC Media. I'm Keith Tebow. Have a great day.